Hey Dom, this week's review is like water for chocolate. When he first gave me this book as a punishment, I was kind of worried because I heard it wasn't that good, and so I thought it would be another Catch-22 or something. But it really wasn't. I mean, this book is really funny. Like when the sister makes the shower room light on fire because her body is so hot from the quail. Oh my god, I couldn't stop laughing. It was so hilarious. So really, like, thanks for letting me read this book because it was so funny, and especially at the end. Alex. It's so funny. What is it, Dom? Like, Water for Chocolate isn't a comedy. It's not supposed to be funny. Are you serious? But they die from having sex. I know, I'm just saying, it's not supposed to be funny. Her cookie makes people horny. No, not funny. Really? It's supposed to be taken seriously? Really? What can I say? It's a terrible book. So yeah, like Water for Chocolate is a terrible book that's supposed to be taken seriously. So basically the story of like Water for Chocolate is that this teenage girl, Tita, who lives in Mexico, falls in love with this guy Pedro and wants to get married to him, but she can't because her mom tells her about this ancient family tradition they have where the youngest daughter has to stay home and look after her mother until the mother dies. And it just so happens that Tita is the youngest daughter. So instead, the mother offers her oldest daughter, Rosaura, to Pedro. And Pedro accepts so that he can be closer to Tita. Meanwhile, it's said that Tita is a really good cook, and to the point where it has, like, magical powers or something. And so the book is told in monthly installments of, like, recipes that are important to the plot in some way. Particularly the quail and rose dish, which, as I mentioned before, causes the middle sister to become so hot with pent-up sexual frustration that she lights a building on fire and then has to run around in the field naked until she's rescued by a soldier and his horse. And the last chapter, it takes place about 22 years after the first chapter began, and at which point Rosaura is dead, and Pedro and Tita are able to finally have sex without any guilt, I guess. And they light the ranch on fire from their sex, and then they die from having sex. Well, Pedro dies, and then Tita, like, kills herself or something to be with him forever. Even summarizing the plot sounds ridiculous. Tita's cooking also has some other magical properties, like when Pedro and Rosaura's first child isn't able to get any milk from Rosaura, Tita's cooking, like, combined with her maternal instincts, helps her feed the kid even though she's not or never has been pregnant. Also, while making the cake for Pedro and Rosaura's wedding, she cries into the batter, and then when people are eating it, they become really sad or mourn their lost loves or whatever. This actually has a different effect on Rosaura, who starts puking everywhere and slips in the puke, and then she falls in the puke and the puke gets all over her, which is really funny because Rosaura's a bitch. But it's supposed to be really sad. As you can guess, I didn't like this book at all, so I'm just going to go through the reasons why I didn't like it. So, reason number 1. First of all, the entire basis of the book is set on Pedro and Tita's never-ending love for each other. And yet the book basically starts off with them in love already, and going by the character development that happens after that, I can't really tell, again, why these people are in love with each other. Yes, I can see why Pedro would be in love with Tita, but that's also why she's a really annoying character. I think Pedro's in love with Tita because she's so perfect, and yet her perfection makes her annoying to me. And Pedro is an asshole, because not only does he marry his sweetheart's sister, which is a douchey move right off the bat, but he also enters into an affair with Tita without even considering his wife's feelings or his responsibility towards his children. And then he has, like, the audacity to be jealous when Tita tries to move on. So the foundation of the book, which is built on Tita and Pedro's love for each other, doesn't even make sense to me, because the book just drops you right into the middle of it, and it doesn't really explain to you why these people would be in love with each other, which I hate when books do. And it's presented in this misleading way, like, Pedro and Tita forever! And I can't stand that. The book doesn't take into account all the people that they're hurting by having this affair. Like Dr. Brown, Tita's possible next lover, and Pedro's wife, Tita's sister. Instead, like, the message of the book seems to be like, follow your heart, and no matter what or who you're going to hurt. Second reason I don't like this book. I don't know if this is the author's fault, or possibly it was a bad translation, but the writing isn't very good. I mean that the dialogue isn't natural, that the story is ridiculous, and that the characters aren't believable. First of all, you have the mom, who it's never really explained why she's so bossy or tyrannical, and she's never really given any hidden depth. Second of all, you have Tita, who is Miss Perfect, and that doesn't make her relatable. It just makes her annoying. You know, everything is forced upon her. Nothing is her fault. And I really dislike that. She doesn't take any of the blame for things that have happened as a direct result of her selfishness. Then you have Gertrudis, the middle sister, the one who runs around in the field naked. I think my biggest problem was with her, because she was the one who was egging Tita on to follow her heart and engage in this affair with Pedro. You know, things happen and they got married, and, you know, sometimes you just have to live with that. And the writing itself is very wooden and unemotional, which, you know, for this book, which is based entirely upon emotions and how food influences our emotions, it's important, and yet the writing doesn't convey that. My third problem with the book, which also kind of has to do with the writing aspect, is that the plot is ridiculous. I mean, I just can't accept that Tita's cooking is supposed to be magical. It's supposed to influence people. I guess it would make sense if the story was like a fairy tale or something, but there are some aspects of the story that are, like, real. Like, you know, it takes place in Mexico. It has, like, revolutionary undertones to it, and that doesn't make sense for a fairy tale. So, you know, this whole Tita's cooking is magic. These events happen that are really fantastical, and, you know, they die because of their real and passionate love for each other that they consummate. Like, it's bogus. And I honestly don't know why anyone would take this book seriously, and I don't know if they should. The message is just ridiculous. Like, let's abandon our family and our values and just fuck until we die. So those are the main reasons why I didn't like the book. That being said, it was really good for a laugh. I mean, I quite enjoyed how ridiculous it was. You know, not as bad as Wuthering Heights, but still not good. So I guess I'll give it like 1 death-inducing orgasm out of 5 death-inducing orgasms. Although really, I guess you'd only need 1 death-inducing orgasm. So anyways, Dom, I look forward to your next review, which is of a book I don't know yet. And remember, Tita's life is really hard, so feel sorry for her, please. Oops. Fail. Okay. BRB.